So, today we're diving into an explainer on one of Northeast India's most ancient and honestly most mysterious sacred sites. We're talking about the Tripura Sundari Temple in Udaipur, just about 55 kilometers out from Agartala. And look, this isn't just going to be a dry historical timeline. We are really going to dig into the intense spiritual mechanics, the centuries-old rituals, and a very specific, mind-bending midnight phenomenon that still completely baffles scholars and spiritual seekers today. So, get comfortable, and let's unravel this whole mystery together.
Out of the 51 revered Shakti Peeths scattered across India, this specific site has a reputation that'll legitimately give you goosebumps. There is a massive lingering question that hangs over this temple. When the sun finally goes down and all those temple bells go dead silent, do the statues inside actually begin to converse? It's an absolute mystery, and it's been drawing people to this exact spot for centuries.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at the two radically different lives this temple leads. By day, it's a bustling hub. You've got thousands of devotees pouring in, offering this special sweet called Peetha, which the goddess is said to absolutely love. But as soon as darkness falls, the entire vibe flips. It transforms into a world-renowned center for tantric sadhana, very much like the Kamakya temple. Under the cover of night, observers and practitioners report seeing this undeniable divine glow in the idol's eyes, and even more incredibly, they claim to hear the statues actually whispering to one another in hushed tones.
Now, you might be wondering, why are these statues said to speak in the first place? Well, for tantrics and sadhaks, who are deep in meditation, these nighttime murmurs aren't meant to be spooky at all. They actually interpret it as direct divine guidance. Practitioners believe the goddess is actively communicating with them, basically letting them know if their intense, highly esoteric rituals are hitting the mark. For them, this whispering is the ultimate proof of her living, compassionate presence, actively guiding them right through the dark. But why here? What makes this specific location hold such a crazy amount of intense energy? Well, it actually comes down to geography. The temple is built on a hill that is shaped exactly like a tortoise's back. Because of this, it's known as a Kurma Peeth. Now, in Hindu texts, the tortoise is incredibly auspicious. It's directly linked to Lord Vishnu's Kurma avatar, the one who literally supported the mythical Mount Meru on his back. So a location shaped like a tortoise is believed to be this massive, natural reservoir of unyielding divine power and stability. And building right on top of that geographical power is its mythological origin. Long before there was ever a brick laid for a temple, this was already a site of profound cosmic significance. The lore says that when Lord Shiva was wandering the universe in just absolute blinding grief, carrying the body of goddess Sati, Lord Vishnu stepped in. He used his chakra to divide her body into 51 parts to restore balance to the universe. Sati's right foot fell precisely on this tortoise-shaped hill. That firmly established it as a highly potent Shakti Peeth.
Okay, let's actually look at the physical statues themselves, the exact ones at the center of this midnight mystery. Inside the sanctum, you'll actually find two idols, both carved from black granite. The main Tripura Sundari idol stands about 5 feet tall, and she's accompanied by a smaller, 2-foot idol affectionately called Chodama, who is believed to be goddess Bhuvaneshwari. But here is the really fascinating detail. Unlike many forms of Kali where the tongue is extended outward, both of these idols feature the tongue kept inside. That specific posture is incredibly important. It symbolizes an extremely compassionate, peaceful, and benevolent nature.
And that benevolent nature ties perfectly into her identity. She is revered as a tantric form of goddess Parvati. She possesses 3 eyes and holds a noose, a goad, a bow, and an arrow in her 4 hands. Often, you'll hear her referred to as Shodashi, which means she is complete with all 16 divine arts. Known by other names like Lalita, Rajeshwari, and Gauri, she is considered the absolute most beautiful entity across all 3 realms, heaven, earth, and the underworld. That's exactly where the name Tripura Sundari comes from. It is this very specific duality, ultimate benevolence combined with raw tantric power, that perfectly sets the stage for the midnight phenomena.
So how did the physical building even come to be? Let's fast forward a bit to the year 1501 AD. This was during the reign of the great ruler of Tripura, Maharaja Dhanya Manikya. The funny thing is, originally, the king was actually trying to construct a temple for Lord Vishnu on this hill. But the goddess appeared to him in a vivid, unmistakable dream. She essentially told him that this site was already her sacred Shakti Peeth and ordered him to dedicate the temple to her instead. But she didn't just give him a suggestion. She gave the king a very strict set of conditions. He was instructed to retrieve her stone idol from Chittagong, which is in present-day Bangladesh, and he could only transport it during the night. The absolute moment the sun rose, wherever that idol was, it had to stay put. The king obeyed, but daylight broke before he could reach his intended destination. The idol became physically immovable right there on the Peeth. And so, that is exactly where the king built the magnificent Ekaratna-style temple we see today. Now, to truly understand the sheer intensity of the energy at this site, the literal energy that practitioners claim fuels those whispering statues, we have to look objectively at its history. In ancient times, this temple was actually a site for human sacrifice. Tantrics and seekers would perform these incredibly extreme offerings, firmly believing that only such intense sacrifices could please the goddess enough to grant them rare supernatural powers. Obviously, as society evolved, the practice of human sacrifice was completely abandoned. However, the tradition itself simply shifted to maintain the temple's formidable energy. Today, to keep that unyielding energetic balance intact, a goat is sacrificed every single day, with buffalo sacrifices happening on special occasions. Locals and elders genuinely believe that missing even one single day could disrupt the intense spiritual equilibrium of the site, and doing that might dampen the very living presence that supposedly speaks to the tantrics at night. And the mysteries here, they stretch back even further than its 16th century construction. We're talking all the way back to the Mahabharata era. It is said that Karna, the legendary warrior and son of the sun god, actually visited this very Peeth. Known for his intense devotion, Karna performed severe penance and worshipped goddess Tripura Sundari right here, seeking to amplify his powers. The goddess, who was apparently incredibly pleased by his unwavering focus, appeared and granted Karna an unparalleled boon. But here is the wild part. To this day, scholars have absolutely zero idea what that boon actually was. Did she grant him unmatched combat prowess, the kind that allowed him to stand toe-to-toe with warriors like Arjuna? Or did she bless him with the ultimate, kind of tragic power of limitless generosity, making him the legendary Danveer who could literally never refuse a request? It remains one of the most tightly guarded secrets of the temple. Moving outside the sanctum for a second, the temple's surrounding ecosystem is just as fascinating. Over on the eastern side lies Kalyan Sagar, which is this massive 6.4-acre lake, and this lake is home to the incredibly rare Bostami turtles. Remember how we said the temple sits on a Peeth, the tortoise shape? Because of that, devotees view these actual turtles as living symbols of the goddess's blessing. Visitors actively worship them. And yes, feeding puffed rice and biscuits to ancient sacred turtles is a huge part of the daily ritual here. Think about the logistics of maintaining all of this. The rituals, the idols, the lake. It requires immense, unwavering dedication. The Maharaja who built the temple brought in special priests all the way from Kannauj, Uttar Pradesh, specifically Damodar and Gadadhar Pandey, just to ensure the absolute purity of the worship. He even granted them the royal title of Chakravarti. Today, an astounding, unbroken lineage of 76 priests continues this exact work. They operate in a strict rotation, and many of them can still recite 3 generations of their ancestry entirely from memory. And what these priests maintain is a daily schedule that has survived completely unchanged for over 523 years. I mean, think about that. The day kicks off at 4 a.m. by affectionately waking the goddess. Then, regular pujas follow at 9:30 a.m., with that vital sacrificial ritual happening right at 11:30. After a meal and some rest in the afternoon, the day officially wraps up at 9:30 p.m. with the Shito Bhog, which is a calming offering of kheer, halwa, and puri. It is a rigorous, deeply embedded routine of sheer devotion. But if you think the daily routine is intense, it hits an absolute fever pitch during major festivals. During Dipali, specifically on the pitch-dark night of Amavasya, the temple is illuminated by thousands of lamps. It's on this specific night that highly secretive tantric rituals are performed, believed to destroy obstacles and bring immense wealth. Similarly, during the 9 days of Navratri, the site's energy is said to just completely peak. Imagine the sheer intensity of thousands of lamps, continuous chanting, and the extreme focus from the Satiks. Which brings us right back to our central, captivating mystery. We've explored the geographical power of the Tortoise Hill, the ancient, intense sacrifices, and the incredible tantric focus that defines the space. So, when midnight strikes and those sadhaks hear those voices, is it simply the auditory hallucination of a human mind deep in profound meditation, or is it the ultimate, undeniable proof of goddess Tripura Sundari's living presence actively whispering in the dark to guide her devotees?
It's a question that really challenges the boundaries between logic and faith, and definitely leaves you wanting to know more. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.